Welcome to 6 Minutes. Jason Fulmore and Fat and Scrappy's Lucas De Silva, who is, if you've watched any of our others, know that he's now on his second monster, one Nas. You don't have to show. It's okay. All right. Yeah. Anyway, we are doing all 7 classifications plus the girls. We have gotten a little bit more efficient as we've gone along, so that's good. But let's talk a little bit about 1A. All right. So just overview of 1A. Tryon, boy, they look good in the duels. Beat a really good social circle team,
as I predicted.
As you predicted. Is Tryon the team to beat?
I would say so. I think, especially in this class where it's kind of a 4-horse race for the most part, I think that they've shown themselves to be the best team of those 4, and I think that they're a good team for both individuals and duels. I think they're built for both.
Okay. All right. I agree with Lucas, which is a little scary, but we'll share a screen here and talk a little bit about this. So we're going to pop back and forth, and I just want to let everybody know that if you haven't watched any of the other ones, just a quick explanation. Sectional champs are separated. One's on the top line. One is on the line 12 in a 12-person bracket. The middle 2 lines, which would be what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 would be your, I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I was agreeing with you that those would be your second placers on the middle lines.
Yeah, so it's 6 and 7. They are your second placers. So Connor Doherty's section that he won, Isaac Palmer from Commerce is your number 2. And then we go over here to Jude Niemi. I don't know how to say Jude's last name. I assume that's how you say it.
Niemi, sure.
And then you got Braden Mitchell with Jason Jenkins. Here is his second out of his section. And Blake Jones from Mount DeSales sitting right here as your number 3. All right, so and 4 and 5 and 4 and 5, and your 6 is always with your 3, and so on and so forth. But really, we're going to talk a lot about what we kind of see as our favorites and just some matches to watch. So,
of course.
So Lucas, Brayden Mitchell is probably one of the best 106s in Georgia.
Well, not only is he that, but let's also keep in mind Team Fat and Scrappy member Braden Mitchell. Get that right. Kid is a hammer. Great in all 3 positions, and he's sneakily good on bottom for someone that normally isn't on bottom a lot. The dude can get out when he really has to. 45-1 on the year. That's indicative of him. We look a little bit further in the bracket. Connor Doherty is a monster, and he will. I cannot wait to see the Doherty-Mitchell rivalry for years to come. It seems like that's what it's going to be. Doherty at a Pisgah. I got the opportunity to watch him at the Archer Invitational. Dude can bang with the best of them. And if we're good, and obviously Jenkins and Palmer are nothing to sniff at. But if we're going to look down the rest of the way, someone that I am high on is Blake Jones. I like him. But I also am a Patrick Legfelt fan at Strong Rock Christian.
Was that you?
No. Yeah, so that is Strong Rock Christian. I'm a fan of him. So, yeah, I like this bracket a lot. I do think we're going to see a Doherty-Mitchell final, though.
I agree. Okay.
Yes, of course.
All right. Of course. Of course. All right. So let's jump to 113. This one is actually really interesting, and I'll do the overview at the top. And that is Dagan Vaughn beat Colby Dempsey, who is a defending or returning state champ. He won it at 106. Dempsey sits there in a very dangerous spot for the rest of this top side of the bracket. Trent Matthews is the section champ from that side. But, somebody that you might want to keep an eye on is Thomas Johnson right here of Charlton County. And then Alan Calderon, who had a really good fall and has wrestled exceptionally well. That's a potential really good quarter. So
yeah, I like this bracket a lot. Obviously, to me, you look at Trent Matthews and a Dagan Vaughn. Those are your two sectional winners. But I mean, you mentioned earlier with Colby Dempsey, kid's tough. But even beyond him, like you said, Alan Calderon at Eagles Landing, that dude is a compound product. Has been going there for years, and it's shown in the way he wrestles. Another guy that you didn't mention, and not that it was bad, I do like Landon Brown at a Gordon Lee. I didn't know he was a first grader. That's kind of funny, but yeah, the kid can wrestle. He is a dog. So I would tend to think, though, I wouldn't be shocked if we see a Vaughn Dempsey final.
Okay, I agree with you. You know, the Calderon sitting right there. Calderon was second last year to Dempsey, I believe.
Yes, so, I think so. Yes.
Yeah, so that's a really interesting and potentially pretty tough quarterfinal right there. So
I'm gonna say it. That weight class, popcorn approved. Get your popcorn in that bracket.
Popcorn approved. Just so you guys know, popcorn approved would be the new tagline for Fat and Scrappy, I guess. So
don't screw with me. I will make popcorn approved shirts so fast. Don't even play with me.
All right, so let's jump. I know you will.
Hey, Cliff, we gotta get on that.
So let's jump to 120. And, 120 actually surprised me a little bit. And the reason it surprised me a little bit was I kind of thought Seth Huskins would be the section champ, but Jordan Dunlap took care of business and was a section champ there. Hancock was the section champ up top. A couple names, Social Circle's Connor Castillo right there was third out of that group. So you got a Social Circle Tryon potential quarterfinal right there.
Which will be lots of fun. Another quarter that I see that I like the possibility of is down there. Above that, excuse me, for that matter. I like a possible Samples Hancock quarter.
Okay.
I've seen Samples wrestle once or twice, which is why I say that. Dude's really solid. Dude can wrestle really well. So I'm intrigued. The sophomore.
And Sean, I don't know how to say Sean's last name down here for Landmark Christian.
I think that'd be Allen because that looks like it'd be one of those weird spellings.
All right. Is another potential really good matchup down there.
Yes, agreed. Solid quarter here.
So who is your favorite here?
I'm gonna go with Dunlap. He beat Huskins, who was my favorite going in. So I would say Irwin County's owner. Wait, okay, I'm about to have a conniption. Click on 1068 right now.
Yes, it's Irwin County. You know it is.
No, it's not. It's Irwin. Put a CO at the end of your county initial. Hell.
I'm just really interested. I'm going to go to the results here just real quick because I just want to know. So, no, it's not this one. It's this one.
1A, babe.
Yeah. So Vaughn. Oh no. Dunlap beat Huskins 9-4. That's pretty solid.
Took care of business, obviously,
and beat Castillo 8-2. So that's something to really pay attention to. I agree with you. All right, so let's flip over to 126. Who you got here?
Me, Lance Thacker. I like him.
Yeah, so he beat a really good Joseph Daniel to win the section, and Crawford Lee was third. That tells you how tough that section was. Yeah,
Crawford Lee is a dog.
Although I'll be honest with you, Brady Nardella won a good section over Braden Adams and Parker Mertens as well. So I agree with you. Thacker is the favorite. Is there a potential first round or quarterfinal matchup that you might point us to?
I mean, yeah, I would tend to agree with you. I'm looking. Is there no? Oh no. Oh, I'm losing my mind. I forgot. No, yeah. So there's no Commerce wrestler in this bracket. I noticed.
Yeah. No, there is no Commerce wrestlers.
Interesting. So this is one of those weights. If you're Tryon, if you're Social Circle, if you're Mount Pisgah, and you want to make a run, you might need to win this weight.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I would say Social Circle. Thacker almost exclusively wrestled up at 32 this year before coming down. So he's going to be pretty tough. All right. So
I would agree.
I'm going to stop sharing that right there. Let's take a second. So after the first 4 weights, I do like the attention to detail, as Commerce didn't have somebody in that weight. I know you haven't done your research yet in terms of who has the most qualifiers in 1A, but obviously Commerce did not bring the full contingent that they usually do.
No, they absolutely have some gaps in this bracket or in this team, which is what makes this Commerce team, I'm going to argue, more interesting than Commerce teams of past. Because normally we've seen Commerce, they bring 14. Maybe they don't have all hammers, but now they have a team with a guy like a Hope Poe.
Right.
It's really interesting now, the way that it all seemed to work out this year.
All right, so let's jump to 132 and a super talented and 1A has a lot of talent, don't get me wrong, but Robert Austin Westbrook, it's one of those situations where Walker doesn't have a ton of kids on the team and that sort of thing, and he's pretty much over the last few years has been the face certainly of that program. He's won multiple state titles. Marley Washington, just a sophomore.
The young man. Shout out Marley, young man. He'll be on my dual team next year.
But to give you an idea, Westbrook won over Kindred of Strong Rock and Andrew Jones of Tryon. So that's a pretty good indication of how tough that section was. Again,
hey, could you go back to 126 for 1 second for me?
Sure.
I'm trying to see something. Drop to 120 for a second.
Okay.
I'm looking for something specific. Okay. All right, back to 32. Anyways, or 38.
32.
Yeah.
Okay, so Westbrook is the favorite. Do you see anyone taking him out?
I wouldn't predict someone to take him out, but I would agree that it is Westbrook's bracket to win, and I would argue that probably his close competition would be in Marley Washington.
Okay. Washington Kindred, good match or possible match because Andrew Jones is coming through as well. And this is where we get to that situation where, Social Circle, Caden Prater, right? Tryon's Andrew Jones, getting matches, getting wins, whether it's on the front side or the back side, is super important.
This is going to be big for the team race. Like this weight right here is going to be big for the team race more than anything. Almost like not to overshadow the individual achievements, but this is going to be big for the team race.
All right, so 138. We got Art Martinez, who's 31-1. I think his loss was to one of the parents in the duel, and maybe to Jace's parent, who took second last week to him. But you got Bryce James down at the bottom
in the bracket with him.
So as you look at this bracket, what do you see?
I mean, obviously the Art Martinez, Holy Innocents, he's there. Obviously, Bryce James, 41-4, an incredible wrestler in his own right. When we go to the left side of the bracket, I see a Landon Worley. I see at Anthony Vasquez at a pace. Brandon Denmark from Morgan County.
That's not pace.
Sorry.
Pacelli.
Yeah, figures. Okay, actually, I can't be mad at that. But PAA, whatever. Yeah, this should be a fun bracket. Did James outplace Martinez last year?
No. Well, Martinez was a champion, so he certainly didn't outplace him.
I couldn't remember if he was a champ. 1A, I get funky with the names. Yeah, I can't remember who.
Bryce was third last year at 132.
Gotcha. Okay. That's what I couldn't remember, like who finished where. So then Art Martinez is my favorite. Simple.
Yeah. So in terms of the team race, Sean Cruz is sitting right here. He took second to Bryce James. Winning against the winner of Bachelor and Worley is super important.
Yes, he needs to get to the semis. He needs to guarantee a placement. He needs to give the big point bonus. Like there is no discussion. He needs to get there.
All right, jump into 145. What do you see here? This is a great bracket.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, Tyler Nelson has looked really solid all year. Kaysen Taylor, same thing. Cade Parent, I haven't seen too much in person, but then you look beside that, Gus Harns at a Tryon is a dog. This is a very fun bracket in general. Like, this is you know what? I'll say it. This bracket's popcorn approved. Like that is going to be a fun bracket, and team score implications. No Commerce Tiger in this group.
Yeah, okay. So what's really interesting is Perry Jake Stone from George Walton Academy, I think, was second last year.
Okay.
So finishing third in the section, it'd be really interesting. I don't know. Let's see. Let's jump ahead. What was that? 145?
Yes, it was.
It was 145. So let's see here.
Oh, I got some big team score implication stuff here.
Okay, go ahead.
No, we'll get to this at the end when we do the wrap up for it. I just noticed something intriguing.
Okay. Well, so Nelson beat Parent 11-5. Parent beat Stone 5-0 in the quarters. So really pretty interesting. That's going to be a rematch from the week before. And I think it's a pretty interesting rematch between those two, especially since Perry Jake Stone was a finalist last year. So
exactly, and he's going to have the experience and I'm going to continue to say this. I've said it in a couple. I know you're probably getting tired of hearing it, but it means something to me. First, being in Macon, especially if you're a young cat, and especially first time in the finals when you do the walkout and then you face your opponent man to man and you give him the handshake and you hear the arena, it really is. You start feeling that you're in a different animal, and it's for someone that had the blessing to do it 4 times. It was more fun every time than the last. So for me, and every time I hear that song, I don't know the name of it for the life of me, but like I get goosebumps. I could hear the first 3 beats of that song, and I don't know the name, but it's the song that we all walk out to the finals. Mm-hmm. What is the name of that song? It's gonna piss me off too.
I don't know, but we can find out on Thursday.
Yeah, we will find out on Thursday, and I have confirmed that if I can find a ride, I will be going to the state meet. I think Thursday, Friday, and maybe Saturday. So
look out. So be sure be sure to tell Lucas what he got wrong.
Yes, please do, because I like when people get mad at me.
All right. Well, you know what? There's not a short line for that. 152 is super interesting, and I really want to know who you think is the favorite between Bertrand and Cordero. If you go back to placing, Bertrand was a champ last year, and I think Cordero was not.
First off, it is "In the Air Tonight" by Phil Collins is the song I'm thinking of. Secondly, listen, Joey Bertrand is your reigning and defending state champion, Team Fat and Scrappy member. I love that kid to death. Him and his whole family, I would pick him as the favorite. I love him as a wrestler. His game is super dynamic, but Cordero can bang. He's a stud in his own right. So this should be a really fun bracket. I'm going to call out a guy, David McFarland, out of
Scriven?
I do believe, is that Scriven?
Yes.
I got the opportunity to watch him. I couldn't remember the name for some reason, but first off, wait a minute, Scriven! God bless America! Put his CO! Anyways, yeah, I mean, he can bang, and James Eldridge at Soul Circle sitting there at a 3 spot. This is going to be a fun bracket, top to bottom, popcorn approved. Get your popcorn. Hey, and you know what? Get a pop to go with it. Get you a pop to go with it. Why not?
He calls it a pop. That's interesting. You know what's interesting is that Jones beat Eldridge 7-4.
Indeed, he did.
So that quarterfinal could be really important
Be some heat.
All right. Let's go over to 1A 160, where we got Grant Hamilton and Toby Maddox.
G-Ham, T-Fat, Scrappy member. Winner of the Day 3 Scrappiest of the Scrappy Award.
What is the Day 3 Scrappiest Scrappy Award?
So I give awards at my tournaments. I give, of course, my MOW, and then each day I give a Scrappiest of the Scrappy, and it's a guy that maybe was in a rough spot. He didn't have to win. He just needed to fight his ass off, and he did that.
Okay. All right. So who's your favorite?
For me, Grant Hamilton, I like him, but I am going to say Toby Maddox is a hammer. So I would, and I think, didn't Maddox beat Hamilton no, Grant won a state title last year, didn't he?
I don't know off the top of my head. We can look.
I think he did.
Let's see here. Hamilton was second at 152. And Maddox did not place.
So I'm going to go with Hamilton as, oh no, he was a finalist last year. Yeah, he was.
And if he did place, he took fifth. I just might have missed it. So
yeah.
Anyway.
I'm going to go with Hamilton as my favorite then.
Okay. All right. You know who's sitting here that's really interesting? Will Haynes. Social Circle. Right there.
I don't know him too well.
A couple of years ago, he wrestled extremely well. I think he was in the finals, but anyway. Okay, so let's move up to 1A 170. And before I jump into 1A 170, I'm going to pull it back on to here because I was able to talk to Grady Tisdale earlier today, and we did a little bit of a profile on Grady because he is the only wrestler from Tatnall Square Academy, the only one. So he has to find workout partners. He has to figure out, they don't have a wrestling room. They don't have any of those things. He's worked really, really hard, and it'll be really interesting to see how he does this weekend. So
where's he sitting in that bracket?
Okay. Yeah. Let me show it to you. So he is the section champ. Can you see it now? Can you see it? Oh, I lost you. I can't hear you.
So I'm sorry. There we go. Yeah. So he is your section champion. Coming up against a tough Braden Phillips. Tisdale would have had to have beaten a Jackson Etheridge. Shout out. What is his middle name? I know Jackson's middle name, and I keep forgetting it.
Okay.
Damn, baby. Sorry. I love Jackson. Shout out to him. He's like a little brother to me. He was at Collinsville's freshman year when Nate was my coach. Yeah, just there's a lot of fun there.
So I'm gonna look up what did Braden Phillips take last year? Did not place.
I don't think he placed.
No. And Grady Tisdale was fourth at 160. So
good for him, bro.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. You know what? I will say he beat Etheridge and Blaschke in what would have been a really good sectional.
I'm gonna say this, and Braden Phillips and his family know I love him. I love me a good story. I want to see Tisdale go get a chip. Right? Because dead ass, that would be really cool. The only wrestler in his school goes and gets a chip. That would be sick.
That would be fun. Definitely.
But he has a tough road to hoe to do it. So let's keep that in mind. He's got a tough road ahead.
Absolutely. All right. So let's throw it over to 1A 182.
Yes.
And I want to know who is the favorite between Bowman and Gleason, and then who over here might make some noise.
I will say for me, it's Bladen Bowman. I've seen him wrestle a couple times. I do like him. I don't know if Gleason outplaced him, if there's a head-to-head there, but just outside looking in for me, I will say Bladen is your favorite. One guy I do really like is I do like me some Jacob Carpenter out of Morgan County. Dude's a hammer, 50-7 on the year. So, I mean, lots of intrigue in this bracket. And then I don't really like this is one of those brackets where even Debo and Lily, like I know a little bit about them, but I don't know a lot. So anybody can really make a run here. I wouldn't be too surprised.
Yeah. And Commerce has a freshman coming in at 182.
Indeed they do.
You know, and that again will be another important thing because Tryon's down here with a hammer. Social Circle's got Duval right there. You know, so Holy Innocence is sitting right there. I don't think Pisgah. This is about the place where we don't see a whole lot from Mount Pisgah.
No, we do not. And this is where they have some trouble because that they're a little bit, I don't want to say one-dimensional, but when we hit the heavyweights, they start having problems.
Well, they're just not as deep as they are down below. And that's just the way that works. All right. So my favorite bracket in 1A is 195 with the addition of Hoke Pohogan and Logan Eller.
This is going to be some fun.
I don't know that they wrestled in the duels.
I don't think they do. I don't think they did. Like, I genuinely don't know if they did. So, this is going to be... I'm intrigued to see that play out, assuming they both get there.
Yeah, and we are making an assumption here. This is what, 195? And if we flip over here, you know, Hoke had a pin in 59 seconds, a pin in a minute 2, pin in 55 seconds, pin in a minute 9, you know, in the sectional. And Eller, you know, had a pin in 143, 28 seconds, 45 seconds.
I mean, they're dominant. I mean, you got to give them that. They're both there for a reason.
Right. And they both, I mean, they both ran through their sectional bracket. So it just looks like a collision course for the two top at 195.
I would agree with that. But if we're gonna let's keep in mind here for that third, fourth, because this is where team gets really important here. Rowan Vandergraaf.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a Social Circle, you need him to get third, and after he loses, he needs to pin his way out damn near. Like, he needs to be dominant on the backside.
And he can be.
Yes. Like, that's the thing. You know that's funny? In most other brackets, Rowan Vandergraaf is a favorite.
Right, but here that's a tough road.
Yeah, okay. Oh yeah. I mean, and I'm not gonna be the guy that says he can't beat someone, but hell, that's like, you know.
I'm with you. All right. So 1A 220. Unbeaten Brantley Wilbanks, who I think was second last year. You want me to look that up? Or is that right?
Luke McFarland out of Scriven County. Shout out to Luke McFarland.
Right. Those are your two section champs. So you know, but this is deep. You know, Tucker Cleary sitting there for Social Circle. He gets a Commerce kid in the first round.
That's a big one for Social Circle and Commerce.
And this is a big one for Pisgah. This is where they have somebody who's third right here. And, you know, it's not a given beating Santander, who took sixth. So, you know, this is an interesting weight as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's interesting also is that at 220, we've got one, three freshmen.
Fascinating. You love seeing some young bucks. I love seeing them at this weight.
Yeah, no doubt. At the big weight. All right. So who's your favorite?
I'll say Will Banks, undefeated on the year. You said finalist from last year. We'll give him the nod.
And our heavies.
Even though I will say, I do like me some Zach McFarland out of Scriven. I do like that kid a lot.
Luke McFarland.
Luke, excuse me. Sorry, why did I say Zach?
I don't know.
Because I saw Zach Sharp. Speaking of Zach Sharp, Team Fat and Scrappy member, Zach Sharp, my boy.
All right, so 285 is super deep, weight. Actually, super deep.
A fun weight.
Yeah. Was Sharp a champ last year?
I think. Yes. No, Sharp was a champ at, I think, 95.
Oh, is that right?
Could be. Or 220. I don't think he was that heavyweight.
195.
I knew he got bigger. Well, because he's wrestling 220 for me in the summer.
Got it. Well, and we got Cole Spence, who's unbeaten up here as the section champ up top.
I'm gonna go with favorite. I'm gonna go with Zach Sharp because he is a defending champion, not reigning and defending. You see, he's at 95. You gotta see how that works now. But he is a state champion. Pisgah, Cole Spence. I got to watch him wrestle. Really solid heavyweight, good on his feet. And a really clash of styles because Cole is a little bit more your prototypical heavyweight, and Zach Sharp is anything but your prototypical heavyweight because he's not even a true heavyweight. So his style is super different for that weight class.
Well, and I could be wrong, and maybe you don't know, but hasn't Wilbanks and Sharp kind of both wrestled 220 and 285 and kind of gone back and forth?
Yes, and from what Sharp told me, he wanted the challenge of going up to heavyweight. He was like, I want to see if I can do this. Because that's the thing about Zach Sharp, man. He is an uber competitor. Me and him were texting, and I didn't even know he was doing this. He told me, he's like, hey, by the way, I beat you when we were passing away. He's like, I texted back faster than you did. Like, he's a competitor about everything, and I love this kid. Like, he's the kind of kid that's going to give you everything he's got, and that same thing with Spence. Spence is your prototypical, bigger, super efficient movement, snatch, single. Sharp is a little bit more blasty, quick, agile, because, again, he's not even a true head. Like, I want that match to happen because I want to see that match of styles.
So we already talked about it earlier, but just to recap real quick, Tryon is your favorite.
What a segue.
What is the social circle? What does social circle need to do?
I'm so glad you asked. So when you look at qualifications, I looked at the top 6. Mount Pisgah bottoms out Holy Innocents has 7, Scriven has 8, and when it comes to the top 4, Mount Pisgah bottoms out the group at 9, Commerce has 11, Social Circle is 13, and Tryon brings a whole pack of Bulldogs. 14 Bulldogs come through for the Tryon Bulldogs in the state tournament. If you're Tryon, you just need to get those guys into the backside. If you got to get into the blood rounds at minimum. If you can get everybody to the blood rounds, to the 5th, 6th match at minimum, you should do real well. If you're a Social Circle, you need to take advantage of a Rowan Vandegraff in the position he's in. He needs to dominate to 3rd. You need a Thacker to go get the job done. You need Braden Mitchell to go get the job done. Like, I think Social Circle is in range to beat them. I think Commerce could win. I think they're a little like, I don't know if on their best day they could get there unless they get some real help. I don't see Pisgah doing it with 9 guys. Scriven and Innocence, though, could absolutely make a run at a top 4 spot if Mount Pisgah isn't careful.
Yeah, I like that breakdown. I think that's pretty accurate in that I don't think Commerce has the horses to stay with Social Circle and Tryon.
No, I agree. Just currently, as the way it sits, I just don't think they do.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. If Hope Poe gets the boys up and all of a sudden we got 4 state champions from Commerce and another 2 or 3 in the finals, we might be looking at a different story come Friday night.
All right. Sounds good. You ready for the girls?